So on to our flagship, our Estate Pinot, first wine we ever made at Bethel Heights in 1984. It's our largest production, so this is what goes out into the world sort of in broadest distribution. But it's important to keep in mind that when I say that, it's maybe 3,000 cases from a 10,000 case winery. So in the context of the greater wine world, it's still not really all that much. It is sort of a comprehensive view of the entire property. But because this was the first wine that was made at Bethel Heights, focused mainly on the Pinot plantings from 77 and 79, we really have tried to keep that as sort of the backbone of the estate program, because those were sort of there at the beginning, at the genesis of the entire project, and we really wanted that thread to pull through as vintages have rolled on throughout the years. So there is a big focus here on old vines, Pomard and Baden'sville, planted between 1977 and 79. And then fleshed out with the subsequent Dijon and additional Pomard blocks planted in the 90s and early 2000s. One point I always like to make about this wine is this is usually where we start. I think the assumption is always that the high-end wines are the focus initially, and then you sort of move down price points. We tend to approach it the opposite way here. In a lot of ways, this is the most important wine we make because it will touch the most customers out in the world, be it at a restaurant, at a bottle shop, or wherever. It's the introduction to Bethel Heights and what we do that will hopefully then lead to other things. And so it really is our first impression, and it's what we spend a lot of time on. So we will actually begin here with blending, and we will get this, depending on the vintage, between 60 and 70% of where we want it to be, and then we will move on to all of the other pieces. Because we really do want this to be, to over-deliver for what it is, and to be a really good first introduction to who we are and what we do. So as I mentioned, it really comes from everywhere. The older blocks, the younger blocks, the more deep volcanic material here and here bleeding down into what used to be the floor of the ocean down here. Winemaking wise, we don't really do anything too special. We try to keep our hands off as much as we can. Certainly with warmer vintages, I feel like the extraction is the season has sort of done it. I mean, there will be abundant fruit in the vintage. Based on where we're located on the planet, we will have good acidity in our wines. Because of the winds we get from the Van Duzer effect with thicker skins, we will have a lot of potential color and a lot of potential tannin. So in a lot of ways, stepping back is usually the better answer for us. We bring things in, we destem entirely. One of the things I have found with doing a lot of experiments with whole clusters throughout the years is stems have a lot of potassium. Potassium is a natural buffer to acidity. And stems can also have a lot of tannin. I like the acidity we have, and mitigating tannin is much more de rigueur here at Bethel Heights than trying to get more. So I tend to think that our wines are much more transparent when we destem everything. Now that's not to say that we won't experiment, because we do. I mean, it's important for me, I think that as a winemaking team, we never feel like we have it all figured out. So we will continue to sort of push and expand, but by and large we destem everything into a variety of vessels. We have stainless steel tanks, open top at 5 tons, 4 tons, and 3 tons. We have oak tanks. We still use some of the older plastic bins because they don't hold temperature very well. So we'll ferment with minimal intervention. We'll occasionally punch down. I find in the last 5 years we've been favoring pump overs much more, so taking liquid from the top and irrigating it back from the bottom and irrigating it over the top. We will be on until the wines achieve dryness and no longer. We don't do any extended macerations here. We'll settle for about 48 to 72 hours, and then we'll go down into oak barrels, at which point we employ the most important tool that I think most winemakers can use. It's sometimes the hardest one to use, is time. At that point, we just wait. We let things come together. We let them go through malolactic. We observe and we report, but at that point, we're sort of sitting around and looking for work to do around the property. So that's our estate, and we'll move on to the next Pinot shortly. Thank you.